Don't be misled, my brother. Personal growth on every single level, whether it be spiritual, mental, physical, whatever that might be, always comes from a place that is new to us. Because we already know our current states and we already know our current possibilities and capabilities. Meaning that from this, growth only can come from a different perspective, from a different place that we are putting ourselves in. And so most of the times, these places are uncomfortable. Why? Because humans in general do not like discomfort. Why? Because the universe and the whole world and this whole earth, this place, this animalistic environment that we've been brought up, if you will so, is a place when uncertainty is so high and they have to survive and they have to put in so much energy into surviving that when we are finding something that works, we don't really want to switch that up. And this is mostly because of survival basis. And the brain hadn't made us to make us happy, but made us to survive. And so when we're thinking about survival, something that works is better than something that doesn't work, and always to experiment with those things. If it doesn't make sense. If it does make sense, excuse me. And so with that being said, when we are putting ourselves into an uncomfortable situation, our brain doesn't like it because of our default setup. Meaning that we just do not want to put in excess energy into something that we do not know. This is by our default. This is biologically set inside of ourselves. So this is why we do not like things that are uncomfortable. This is why you do not like going out there and run despite of not being the most proper weather, or this is why you do not really like to go out there to the gym, or this is why you do not like to sit down and read a book, because it's uncomfortable. It's like you have to rethink what you know. For example, when you're reading a book, this is why it's so uncomfortable. It's like you have to rethink what you know. And you do not want to do that. You just want to stay with the thing that you already know. But on the other hand, you also know that that thing will not grow you. And you know it on the conscious level, you know it on the subconscious level, but still there's this thing. And so growth will only come if we are able to get to that place and push through that thing. And so we are just simply sitting down with discipline and saying that, bro, you go out there and you run that 3 miles, 4 miles, 6 miles, 100 miles, whatever that might be, because that is good for your health, your mental health, your physical health. You're building your stamina and you're building your character. And so with that being said, I don't care about the weather. You're just simply becoming better by going out there and doing something that you do not like. The same thing applies to reading. Hey man, I do not really like to do that thing. Okay, but this is how you're growing. This is how you're perceiving new information. Yes, it's uncomfortable. Yes, because you have to blow out what you know. And you have to iterate the things that work, and other people spent years and decades to eventually figure those things out and made experiments. So for example, especially if you're reading something that is non-fiction, then you see that those guys have spent like their whole lives figuring those things out, and they perhaps know better about the subject. So for example, you're reading a book about negotiations, like, hey man, like I have to rethink and have to rethink my action. Yes! Welcome to reality, because there's that other motherfucker, sorry about the language, who spent 20 years negotiating with guys. Negotiating with terrorists. Perhaps you already know which book am I talking about. And so that guy just simply knows better. It's like that guy just knows better than you, period. It's like simple. Like accept the fact and read that thing and apply that thing. And when you're becoming a master of that thing, then you can iterate, but up until that point you can't. And this is why it's so uncomfortable. This is why we do not like to do that. And so it comes also with every single thing. So here's the first principle over here. It doesn't matter what we would like to do. We are always supposed to be doing the thing that we have to be doing. So for example, it doesn't matter if I'd like to run today. I have to run today because I know that first, I'll feel better. Second, this is my mission to run every single day because it makes me feel better. It is deep. I'm deeper connected with myself, and also my body works better. It's like on every single level when I'm running, it is better for me. And on the other hand, the same thing with reading. I just simply know every single day when I'm reading, my mind works better. My thoughts are flowing better. I'm more streamlined with my ideas. I'm more articulate, so on and so forth. So every single time when I'm just finding some freaking excuse that, bro, like today you don't really have the mind space to read, it's like, that's BS, that's just crap. And so the big job always comes for us not to step in our own way. And this is where discipline comes most of the time. It's just like, you just clench the teeth and clench your teeth and you just get the job done. And so this is where depression is coming from though too. It's like, you're not doing the thing. Yes, you're not doing the thing. So nothing makes sense. Yes, nothing makes sense. Just start doing something so therefore your brain just catches up anything, so therefore you just can go to somewhere, so therefore you have any kind of an identity, so therefore you have anything that is happening in your life. This is how to get out of the rut, like super simply. But with that being said, I try to not push in too much information in this video, but again, just to sum up everything, what is painful is good. And the biggest reason for that is that we are evolutionary made in a way where we do not like change, because that needs excess energy, which, if you're thinking about from the survival basis, it doesn't make too much sense. So with that being said, I hope it makes sense. Love.